completed our sidebar, they call that. Now back to class. So you will have, the video will have this section on Facebook, like 20-minute conversation removed from posterity. So Unit 5 is compressed, as I was saying, because we just have a few days. Please look up. I don't want anybody to be confused. I have an overnight assignment. You know I don't like to do that. I should have told you about this last week. Because I was absent on Friday, I just didn't have the presence of mind. This is my mistake. I should have seen this coming. I could have seen this coming, and I was just too busy to take off. I apologize. You have an overnight assignment due tomorrow. Then another one due Thursday. On Friday, you have the reading packet and movie questions. That leaves Monday next week for a review to prepare you for the exam, and Tuesday next week for the exam itself. All things considered, this is the exact same timing we had last year, only last year we had 2 labs. In this year's Unit 5, we'll do those labs after the holiday. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? You're wearing pants. I am wearing pants. Yeah, it was cold. So I chose to wear pants. It is a complicated strategy, I'm sure. You'll notice also, I'm wearing kicks.
But those are like the most sandal-like shoes.
Yeah, they're not shoes, they're sandals.
Yeah.
Alright, well that was fascinating. So the thing about biodiversity is it's almost too late. I want to show you guys something. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major mass extinctions. They were called the Ordovician or the Cambrian, the Devonian, the Permian, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. They were all big. They were all caused by climate change, rapid climate change. All 5 of the previous mass extinctions had some geological calamity which changed climate abruptly. Volcanic eruption or a meteor strike. I believe for all of those. One of them I think is a little bit more mysterious, but don't quote me on this. But I believe they were all rapid climate change or some geological calamity. Yeah. By the way, the one that killed the dinosaurs, we know where the meteor hit. We know how big the tidal wave was because it landed in the ocean. We know what percentage of the planet's productivity was impaired by the dust in the atmosphere. We know all that stuff. There was no mystery to this dinosaur die-off. How many of you were dinosaur nerds in junior high or something? How many of you knew with certainty that the extinction had already been explained? Like what? Just off the yeah.
Where's that?
Right there. It's funny how the laser at this distance really, I'm trying to aim at it, but it really exaggerates my hand motion.
Your hand like barely. Just breathe out.
Oh yeah. Okay. People thought that it was a mystery about the, but I don't. From what I understand, oh, I think one of the first 2, the Devonian one, I believe. I'm not that clear on it.
I saw like an explanation about like solar death rays, and it just got so incredibly ridiculous.
You know, everybody can throw out good ideas, and then later on they usually come back to the same main ideas. Whatever, you know, there have been many mass extinctions, all of them caused climate change, we do know this. Thing is, I really like diversity. I was drawn into the sciences because my grandfather could name all the birds and all the insects and all the reptiles, and I was really impressed by that. When I was a little boy, he used to take care of me sometimes, and he always knew all the birds and he knew all the trees. And I was like, wow, Grandpa, you're the smartest man alive. He's like, no, dude, I just spend a lot of time outside, you know, you learn it over time. And I was like, I'm going to be just like you, Grandpa. No joke, that guy was really my idol. He died a few years ago and it broke my heart. I've always wanted to be like him, to learn as much of diversity as I could. So when I was your age, I think I've mentioned before that high school was kind of rough for me. I was always kind of, as an immigrant and as somebody who moved a lot and being poor and having a chip on my shoulder about everything, it was really hard for me to integrate into high school. In high school, instead of doing the usual high school stuff, I bred reptiles and fish. If you want to hear the epitome of dorkiness, I lived in Isla Vista, which most people around the world recognize as Park Central. But when I was a college student, I was straight edge. So imagine being the straight edge guy in Isla Vista. So on Friday nights, I would like change the water on my aquarium and use it to fertilize my orchids. I have been into diversity as a salve for social rejection my whole life. And I have to say that when I teach this unit, this is one that really pains me because we're already deeply into the next mass extinction. The Holocene that's a term you have to know. It's not in your, I don't think it's in your reader, is it? Holocene? Does it say that on the study guide? It doesn't, so please add this word. This is our current mass extinction. It has a name and everything. And you know, the mass extinction event is us. We are, right now, the cause of the most dramatic mass extinction of them all. Now, it's very difficult to put this in perspective because reasonable scientists can differ about how many species are on the planet, and if we differ on how many there are, then the percentage going extinct differs. If you believe there's 100, oh my God, we're losing 90% today. If you believe there's 1 trillion, we're losing a fraction of 1%. Because scientists have not yet settled on the final estimate of how many species are alive today, estimates of how many we're losing as a percentage, because we don't know the denominator. But even when we use fairly conservative estimates of our planet's current diversity, this is right now the most rapid mass extinction event ever. Many scientists have mentioned, if all humans were wiped off the earth right now, thus we wouldn't add any more to our problems, if all humans just disappeared from the earth, we would still have set into motion the dominoes toppling, and the Holocene would still, even without humans beyond today, be the worst mass extinction event ever. We've already started it, now we could just step back and watch the species disappear one after another.
Can we, snag one of the dominoes to keep it from going?
Excellent question, and really, I hate to say it, probably not. The question is how many more we'll add to the end. Because right now it's like, hey, I bought an SUV, and it's like, hey, one more domino, because that's another donkey adding to the problem that's going to make even more global warming.
Okay, but hypothetically, I know if we just step back, it would still, all these species would get extinct. Could we hypothetically interfere so that...
So the things that would be required for that would be a surprise solution to forecast for global warming. Remember, all the mass extinction events were something, who cares, and the global warming is the deadly part. You know, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, it's not like it hit every dinosaur, they're like, oh, the meteor, and then hit the next one. The meteor probably didn't hit that many dinosaurs. The meteor doesn't matter, the climate change afterward is what kills the dinosaurs, and so the climate change question is what...
Does that take more time than people believe?
Well, I'm not that smart. But we know that productivity was impacted for hundreds of years. And don't forget that ecosystems fall apart little by little. So you lose the pollinator a few years later, you lose the flower a few years later, you lose the thing that nests in the flower a few years later. So there's this like domino effect.
We should counter global warming
Yeah, I mean, coincidentally, many people have suggested like very extreme measures to geoengineer the planet to be colder, not necessarily the nuclear winter, but other ways to erase the impact of climate change. And I'm sure that there is that sort of Hail Mary potential. I mean, to say that remote last minute salvo of some solution, but because I'm so obsessed with diversity, and because as a biodiversity, I mean, because when I was your age, I was already hooked on cool stuff. I can name random facts. You can just flip through a National Geo, and I know all the animals and the birds and the fish. And by now, that's like probably the biggest chunk of my trivia. And I keep thinking how sad it will be that my beautiful daughter and son, coincidentally, nerds do pull through. I gotta tell you, the revenge of the nerds is real. I don't know how it happened. I have like a foxy wife and beautiful children. So all of you who are nerds today, take it from me. If I can do it, you can do it. I don't know how that works. But I mean to say, whenever I think about my beautiful children, like, what kind of a planet are they going to get? In terms of biodiversity, I'm really sad that there's all this cool stuff that I've seen that they probably won't. I noticed it a lot when I died, because you look at the flyer and it's like, hey, here's where you're going to go diving. It's like, wow, that's great. And you get there and it's like, oh, my people have already been here and they've already done all the fishing and dumbasses have kicked all the coral over and it's another reef. I really wonder what we're going to hand my children. To me, the biodiversity unit is the one with the most immediate value, like visual certainty. Like you can see the stuff that your children will not have in their planet. That's really sad for me. The biodiversity unit makes me like truly, deeply inside sad. Okay. The movie that you're going to watch today is awesome. It has some pretty cool endangered animals. We will talk more about biodiversity tomorrow. After the movie finishes, you're answering 1 through 6 or so today. I'll cue up the film. Anything else talking about biodiversity? Okay.
Is 5.4 on this movie?
5.4 is on this movie, yes. Here goes.
The living things of our planet. Most of us have never visited the forests where so much of this natural splendor is concentrated.
I've seen those.
But we live there,
And those.
species after species, steadily evolving since life began on Earth over 3.5 billion years ago.
And those. So, did I already tell you how much nerdiness, what kind of qualifications I have to be nerdy about biodiversity? I worked at the Santa Barbara Zoo as a botanical garden, Natural History Museum. I consulted with the guy that used to run Michael Jackson's reptile collection, and he tried to get me to adopt one of these. I also worked at MSI, the Marine Science Institute at UCSB, and at the biology greenhouses at UCSB. I am like a diversity nerd. All that stuff that they put on there, I've got random facts, I can talk for days, I've got stories. When I watch documentaries like this with my children, they like love it because they want to hear stories, and so I've got a story about how I saw a black panther in the Amazon. I've got stories about how tapirs are the most dangerous animals, one of the most dangerous animals in the zoo. they use that rounded head to headbutt you right about this elevation.
Oh, lovely.